That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
Hello and welcome to Content and Capable, a podcast all about following your passions while still feeling like a proper adult. My name's Sam and I'm your host. This week I spoke to Henry Calvert, who recently went viral on TikTok sharing his geeky collections and his love of all things nerdy. Welcome to Content and Capable, Henry. It's lovely to have you on.
Oh, thank you for having me, Sam. It's a taste to be here.
Yes, I always like to give like a little bit of a prelude of how I ended up finding you. And increasingly so, I was just looking at my spreadsheet, increasingly so, it's just people I found on TikTok or TikTok adjacent who have just like popped up and I've gone, oh, you're a great person. I'm going to reach out to you and see what you're, if you're keen. And a lot of people are, it turns out. It's amazing. I'm actually really surprised on, like, you know, you got your Instagram influencers and they turn around and they're like, often like there's a brand management company behind them or something. Yeah. They're really hard to get a hold of. Turns out that people on TikTok, because it's a bit of a new platform, it's not that new, but it's a bit new. People like are so much easier to get a hold of. I love it.
Oh, definitely. It seems more homely and real. Whereas Instagram can seem a bit, I don't know, forced and a bit what's the word? Sterile almost, I feel like.
Yeah. I actually, that's exactly it. And I actually really struggle with getting around to having people on who feel like genuine, who are from Instagram. There's a couple of people I've gotten a hold of, or a couple of people I have actually interviewed who were Instagram based, and I don't know, it wasn't as fulfilling or as fun, and that's why I love having conversations, especially with new and emerging creators on TikTok, which you've just recently blown up a little bit on everyone's feeds.
Yeah, it's kind of gone wild. This past week's been mental. Well, I posted a video last Sunday, which is now on 4.5 million views, and I've gone from 20k followers, and now I'm on 85,000, I think, something like that. It's wild. This week's been mental.
Yeah, and what did it's really hard to even articulate questions about this, but how did you find out that you'd gone viral on the internet?
It was weird. I posted the video before I went to a gig, and I don't have notifications on for TikTok, but then my Instagram was popping off, and as soon as I see my Instagram followers going up, I'm like, a video's done well. And so I got home a few hours later after I posted it, and it was on 500,000, and I was like, oh, okay. Went to bed. Mm-hmm. It was on 1 million, and then I was like, okay, so this is rolling. And yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there. It was intense. It was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, and before that, what kind of content were you making?
Before then, I'd done similar videos. I hadn't done a get ready with me video, but I'd done a kind of almost. This is an outfit that I've got on. I think I look really good in it, and I'd done a couple of those videos. But most of my content was very geeky, comic books, Star Wars, Marvel, all that kind of goodness. And I'm still making that kind of content. It baffles me that that's the video that went viral. But yeah, I'm a very geeky TikToker type guy.
Yeah, and for someone who may not be familiar with maybe even the word geek, but B, geek culture, what does that look like from your perspective?
From my perspective, being part of the geeky community entails kind of liking Star Wars, liking the Marvel movies, comic books, DC, Lord of the Rings, being a fan of a fictional property, and being very passionate about it, because I think geeks are very passionate people, and we're into all of this. We love all of these geeky worlds, these And I don't know. I think it's just a sign of passion, and it's a very nice thing. I think it's a beautiful thing to be.
Yeah, it's so amazing of the cultures that do pop out around these fictional things. And for example, listeners will know that part of the movie night crew is the restricted section, which is an extension of the Harry Potter fandom in a bit more of an inclusive light after a couple of things. But it's just so amazing to see these communities get together, support each other, and then move on to bigger and better things. It's fascinating to watch.
Definitely. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It's amazing to see people come together from all over the world as well. All different backgrounds can come together over this love of these fictional worlds. And I don't know, it's amazing. The friends that I've made kind of across the globe, and people who I'd have nothing to do with, we've managed to come together over this one thing. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. And how did you get into loving, Marvel and Star Wars and comic books?
Yeah, so one of my earliest memories was watching Star Wars: A New Hope on VHS with my dad, and I remember sitting in our living room, like sat on his lap, watching the trench run scene, which is at the end of A New Hope when Luke's going through the Death Star to try and blow it up, and being sat on his lap and like pretending I was in the cockpit of an X-wing. Like that's one of my earliest memories. And I was brought up on these 80s classics, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. And so it was instilled into me from a young age that these were the best movies. My uncle is a massive comic book fan, and I inherited his collection, and then that's what got me into comic books. It's been a huge part of my life ever since childhood. It was like my special thing, because kids at primary school weren't really into it. I went to quite a sporty primary school, and the kids didn't really get it. So I liked the fact that there was something that was mine as such, and that I loved growing up as a kid. It was special to me, I guess.
Yeah, and I suppose when you're surrounded by that nostalgia and especially those early like action films, I would in my head at least, Star Wars is where the big action odysseys that we see, the proper hero's journey in film comes through. That kind of is very inspiring, especially VHS. I love VHS. It's amazing.
I wish I still had my VHS copies of Star Wars. Like, I want to try and get back a hold of them, because the unaltered, non-CGI versions, because George Lucas has messed around with the original trilogy now, and there's random CGI bits, and it just takes me out of it. But I wish we just had the perfect, like, little slice of Star Wars still.
Oh, yeah, and then, like, the trivia you hear about it as well, and, like, the way that they edited the lightsabers in and things just goes to show the attention to detail and the dedication that everyone on that team had, and it really is inspiring, I think, for people to see that kind of thing. It's amazing.
Definitely.
And so when you got involved, and obviously you inherited a lot of things from your family, what did that look like as you kind of grew up and realized that other people are also into this your age as well?
Yeah. Growing up, my main kind of passion to do with the geeky community, or the geekdom, let's call it, was my Lego collection. Lego was something that I fell in love with, and I've spent a lot of money on Lego. Everyone knows Lego is like the same expense as gold, basically. It is so expensive. But yeah, love Lego. And then I would say in year 9, so age 14, we had a load of people leave school in year 8 who were like the sporty lads. And I think when we reached year 9, year 10, it was when people started maturing started realizing it's not all about popularity contest. It's, being yourself and loving who you are. And Marvel was kicking off then. Marvel was, Infinity War was about to come out, all of that kind of thing. And the Marvel films was my way into making these friends from, the lads, these people who I wouldn't usually have anything to do with. And it was just really, it was really great to see these people who I've kind of almost been scared to talk to for most of my childhood want to talk to me, because I knew about all the Marvel films, I knew the theories, and all of this kind of thing. And for me, it made me realize anybody can love Marvel, anybody can be into it and love it as much as I do. And then that opened my eyes to, oh my God, I can make more friends through this. And yeah, I that was really something that stands out in my mind from growing up, is making some really good lifelong friends through the Marvel films and gaming as well. I think I owe a lot of my friendships with some of my closest friends to Fortnite, really. I mean, Fortnite was so big. We were playing it, every night for 3 hours. And when you're talking to the same people every night for 3 hours, you can't help but, become really good mates.
Oh yeah, it's 100%, and it's very interesting to see that almost like found family that ends up coming out of those communities as well, and you get to the point where you're like, wow, these people are so amazing to be with, and I just like, I feel the same about communities that I'm a part of, and in fact, I've now decided to make an effort to go and physically visit them, because they're just so inspiring to me that I actually want to go see them in person and make those physical friendships as well as the online presence.
Oh, definitely. And there's something about that in-person bond. Going to Comic-Con, for example, I met a load of my TikTok mutuals last year at Comic-Con, and that was so awesome, because it fills you with more of a passion for the geekdom. For me personally, meeting like-minded people and discussing the latest film or the latest book, or just, I don't know, that it just instills my faith and passion for the geekdom. I don't know, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, like, it even extends beyond what we would normally call geeky things, like the simple act of, as you said before, your TikTok mutuals, and it's like the simple act of creating content regularly on TikTok, or hosting a podcast, or even things like, for example, I'm a journalist by training, and so simple act of being a journalist and working in that field means that I've made these connections that, turn into a really, really great community.
Yeah, definitely. It's all human interaction, and we all need human interaction and love. And it's great that these communities can provide that love for us, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And, when you're going through school, you mentioned at the age of 14, everyone started maturing. And all I can think of was the fact that at the age of 14, I actually went on a month-long school camp, and everyone in our school did it and was staged. There was four or five groups of us. And it was very interesting to really, really realize, because we didn't have many people leave the school, but like realize who we wanted to be our friends and who we didn't, and kind of that maturity step up, as you said.
Yeah.
But when you were making and realizing these connections and these mutual likes and interests, what then prompted you to join more closely in the communities as a broader thing than just in your local physical community?
I think what prompted me to kind of engage in the community as a whole was going to conventions. I used to run, I used to work with a friend, and we had like a Lego resale business, and we'd go to conventions and have a stall, and we'd sell Lego and all that kind of thing. And that really opened my eyes to the wider community that was out there. Because I live in rural North Yorkshire, which is, back end of nowhere in England. There's not many things here. But going to like Manchester or all these big cities, and it just opened my eyes to the fact that there are hundreds of thousands of people who are into the same thing as me, and it was just, I want to be friends with that guy with the cool Mandalorian suit. You know, that guy's holding like a really rare comic book. Oh my god, I need to go speak to him. Yeah, it just opened my eyes to the fact that these people were out there, and I could be a part of that world. So that conventions was really my chance to talk to these people, because I didn't have much of an online presence as a kid. I mean, you're a kid. I posted like once a year, if that. And of course, TikTok wasn't a thing. So it really was conventions, and that was my opportunity to talk to people. And working on a stall as well, you get to chat to so many people, and granted, you're trying to sell them a Lego set, but you're also like, you get to learn about where they're from, what they're doing, what sets they like. You have a discussion about Lego. It's amazing the things that people can connect over.
Yeah, it is, and it is like quite amazing that, you know, you get to that point and you're like, wow, you know, like, for example, you know, you mentioned posting once a year, and all I can think of is my personal Instagram feed, which just has a post a year at the moment, of me holding, like, we go through like a learner's permit system, but we get like plates, a red P and a green P.
Yeah.
And I've just swapped to my opens, and it's like, you know, each of them is just a photo on my Instagram page. But like, you know, going to create that more content, you know, being inspired and finding that original content, especially after, you know, interacting with so many people is quite amazing.
Yeah, it was, I started creating content, I guess. Well, it was kind of just a laugh at first. I think a few years ago or a year ago, people were downloading TikTok for the lols, like for a joke or whatever. I posted a video 2 years ago. You know, it was a bit of a joke. It was a bit of my friends follow me. Let's show off some of the geeky stuff that I've got in my room. So I did a video, you know, showing off some of my lightsabers, and it was just, it was a bit of a mick take. And then a year later, so last year, I posted a part 2, and that got 10K. So I was like, oh my god, there's a community out there who've like my stuff. I'm gonna keep doing this because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. So yeah, I just started posting, and here we are, I guess.
Yeah. Have you ever had trouble of like coming up with ideas for new videos or like new concepts?
I think sometimes, but the thing is with me is that I feel like I only post when feel like I have a great idea. I want to make this video. This could be fun. I'm not one to post for the sake of, I need to post 3 times a day to play the algorithm or whatever. I need to hashtag this, hashtag that, because I feel like as soon as I take content creation to a point where I'm taking it too seriously, it's affecting me mentally, it's not doing me any favors, I'm doing it for the wrong reasons.
It becomes a job, kind of.
Exactly. It becomes a job, and at the minute, I'm very happy with this being just a really good bit of fun. And as soon as it becomes anything but that, it's when I need to take a step back. For example, when one of my videos, I remember a couple of months ago, one of my videos did really well, and I became consumed by looking at the content, looking at the comments, checking it all the time to see if it had gone up. And then that evening, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is not beneficial to me at all. So I put my phone down, and I didn't upload for a week. And there's no harm in that, I don't think. There's no harm in that. People who create content shouldn't feel forced to if they need a mental break or if they're just busy. They should be, I feel like if my content comes from a place of passion and enjoyment, that comes through in the content, and also I just feel a lot better about me, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, I create this podcast, I have been for the last year now, and there's actually been 2 points now recently where I've got to evaluate where I'm coming from. And one was about 3 months into creating the podcast. I had to sit down and have a really, really hard conversation about consistency and kind of not upping my standards, but like finding a way to get into a good rhythm and fitting it in within my lifestyle, because it became a part of who I was. My brother was saying, oh, you've got a life, right? And then you do podcasts on top of that. And I had to remind him, and I was actually this afternoon, I said, this is my life. This is part of my life. This is part of who I am. And yes, I might not make money from it. It might not, it might take a bit of a toll on me, but that's why I love it, because it does have this satisfaction. And the other time was actually just a week ago. And I'm really lucky I do these things a little bit in advance. And so I had a bit of time to focus on the other things that were happening in my life, so that when I came back and I, messaged 2 people at 9 o'clock at night on a Thursday night, freaking out, thinking I was going to run out of episodes. It re-energized me, and I got back to it, and I'm now able to have these conversations and make them higher quality and make them more engaging, because I had to take a step back and focus on some other things.
Yeah, definitely. You need that time to reevaluate and like you say, take a step back and just look at what you're doing. And it's important to take that time.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to watch people not take that time and see what happens there, because I would hate to be the kind of person who I'm a bit non-stop, but I'm always changing what I'm doing. So, it doesn't feel non-stop to me. This morning I was driving around, doing a favor for my parents. This afternoon I ended up at a town hall, a very politics-heavy town hall. And then, tonight I'm sitting down recording a podcast while my siblings make mac and cheese, and we'll probably watch a movie tonight,
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, I think, really make your life interesting. And of all things, on top of like all the, the amazing communities that you're a part of, you're also a huge musical theatre person. I was like so fascinated by this.
Yes, musical theatre and performing arts is my love. Musical theatre and performing arts is really at the core of me. As well as all this geeky stuff, growing up, I was the musical theatre guy at my school. Mm-hmm. And again, rural North Yorkshire, very sporty school. I was like the only guy in the school who sung. That was me. That was it. Yeah.
It's not that much different here in Australia. Of all things, my siblings are doing their school musical right now, and we're going to go and watch. But they always struggle for guys, and it's a really weird thing. Every time you say Yorkshire, by the way, and I have to bring this up because it's not been bugging me, it's just hilarious. I think of, I don't know whether you've heard of Tom Scott and the amazing. You haven't heard of Tom Scott?
I haven't heard of Tom Scott. Who's Tom Scott?
Tom Scott is this most amazing British YouTuber who studied in York for like a couple of years, and he and his mates host a game show called The Technical Difficulties, and it is the most funny game show ever. And they talk about the stupid stuff that they did while at uni in York. And so every time Yeah,
well, I'm from York, so I should probably check that out. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and where did that dragging it back to from the tangent that was bugging my brain? Where did your love of musical theatre come from? Was it the same kind of area that the geek love came from? Same kind of thing. I remember going to my mum's, my grandma on my mum's side. I remember going to see her, and as a kid, all that she would watch would be Showboat, Oklahoma, Seven Brides, Seven Brothers, Annie, all of these classic old school musicals, Singing in the Rain. I watched Singing in the Rain to death as a kid. Mm-hmm. And seeing him just sing and dance and look so suave and awesome doing it in Singing in the Rain. The Singing in the Rain song just blew me away. And I think that remained with me until I watched La La Land.
And then I watched La La Land, and I was like, okay, I'm done with Gene Kelly. I want to be Ryan Gosling. So yeah, I think the old school musicals really instilled the musical theatre bug in me. And then I did all the school shows growing up, Winning the Willows, Sound of Music. And then I kind of fell out of love with performing for a while. I got into a relationship, which kind of all consumed me. Yeah, I think growing up not really having much female attention, let's say, I was never really much of a ladies' man. And then I got into this relationship, and it was, oh my god, this is great. This is all I need. Which was wrong. Which was wrong. But then, so I lost my passion for a while. But then in upper sixth, so at age 18, my sixth form put on Hairspray. And Hairspray is in my top 5 musicals and has been for forever. Hairspray is what gave me my passion for modern day musicals. That was the first modern day musical that I was just, oh my god, this is awesome. So I did Hairspray, I was corny in Hairspray, and from then on in, I was like, you know what? This is what brings me joy. This is me.
Yeah.
And then from that, I've taken 2 years out. I took last year out to gain experience in the industry and travel.
Yeah.
But last year, there wasn't a theatre industry, and you could not travel. So, I went back to school and as a drama assistant, and I directed Aladdin at school. And that's really what opened my eyes to the power of facilitation and working with young people. I directed.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. Directing Aladdin with James and Ralph, my lads, was absolutely... It's changed my life, really. And that was when I was going through this really rough breakup with this person. And it was something, when I was so low, I felt like I was still putting something good into the world, and that really got me through that time. Like, and I owe a lot to those guys. Like, I owe a lot to them. Anyway. And then, so I did that last year, and then this year with the theatre industry opening back up again, I did Joseph. So I performed in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which was incredible. I love that show. So I did Joseph. I then directed Beauty and co-directed, choreographed Beauty and the Beast at school again, and that closed last week. I'm doing We Will Rock You, directing, choreographing, and then I also performed in Evita at York Theatre Royal, which was awesome. And through, if I'm honest, I feel like I've worked my arse off this year with the performing arts and stuff, and it's paid off. And I got into the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama.
That's amazing! Wow, congratulations!
Thank you. So I'm going in September to drama school. I'm going to drama school. It's like it's just really cool. It's just get in, mate. You've done it. You've done it, lad.
It's amazing. I play trombone myself, so I've been performing for a very long time, and I don't know, it comes in swings and roundabouts for me. I'm a community performer first. I don't plan on studying music or performing professionally, at least at this stage, in my life. But it's so fascinating, just like the joy that people get out of rehearsing something and bringing something together. We've got a concert next week that we're preparing for. We've had 4 rehearsals so far, and we've got our 5th and 6th before the performance. It's a really tight turnaround, and just watching everyone, like the joy that is behind getting back to playing, especially seeing the performing arts industry has suffered so much through COVID, and getting back to a regular concert schedule, a regular regular events. interest and more people coming along and, you know, watching stuff live. It's just been so amazing, and it gives me so much more energy to go and do that.
Oh, definitely. And it's amazing because you can feel this almost anticipation, not just in the company, but in the audience. It's like this feeling of excitement to be back, and this anticipation of, oh my God, we're going to do it again. This is happening after all this time. It's awesome. It's so lovely to see that excitement bubble away for months. I was doing Evita rehearsals for months. And then to get on stage was just incredible.
It's glorious.
Yeah.
I had the amazing opportunity to play. So my school's the school that I went to was a little bit weird. We like to pick like musicals that are a little bit out of the blue. So the first musical I ever played in was My Fair Lady. And it was really, really a great introduction into musicals. It's hilarious. Like it's one of my it's funny. The second one we did was Crazy for You, and I was in my final year of high school, and it was a struggle leading up to it because there was a lot going on. I'd somehow gotten roped into the National Band Championships, which were due to happen a month and a bit before the musical performance. So I had these two big sets of performances, just one after the other. And so I'd never been playing so much in my life up until that point. And then, you know, drama hits the fan the week before Tech Week at the school. And we go to a community theatre. Yeah. We go to a community theatre to go do our performance. And we, like, just arriving at the theatre and the seats and just sitting down and everyone's sitting there talking and excited. And the actors have their suitcases full of makeup and costumes, and we've got like 7,000 little bits and pieces and it was really interesting. A director decided to build the stage around the orchestra because there was no orchestra pit in this community theatre. They'd filled it in like years ago, and we were very upset because we were probably one of the only performances that actually used the pit.
Yeah.
But so they built the stage around the orchestra, and apparently they're doing it again. They're doing Annie this time. But it was so amazing to sit in the stage and be kicked in the back of the head by, you know, a can-can dancer, be a part of the jokes.
Yeah.
They did a open curtain start, so we would all come in on the stage in our own time before the show, and kind of sit down and get ourselves ready and get ourselves hyped for it. And then, like, we would literally, the conductor would walk on and we would start. And it was just electric because you would see the crowd and you're like, wow, I can't stop ranting and raving about it because it was just, and, you know, after all the stress that happened, everything just melted away. And you were just there to perform and you're having a good time. And I'm a brass player, so I have a bit of an attitude when it comes to performing. But like, we took a lot of liberties, and we just enjoyed ourselves. It was a lot of fun.
That's the main thing. Having fun with it.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those things that I don't think people outside of performing arts know very much of, like having fun with the performance that you've got in front of you and getting to the point where you can just, you know, wiggle a little bit. We had this one joke. At the very start of the musical that was ad-libbed. So the actor who did it did it differently every time. And one of them was an in-joke, and one of them ended up being an in-joke. So the whole orchestra starts like cracking up. And then the conductor turns around and goes, we've got to be ready to perform right now. Like, you better get yourselves together to be able to actually play right now. It was just, it's some of those experiences are just amazing.
Definitely.
So you've obviously gotten into the Royal College of Speech and Drama, right?
Yes,
What do you hope to do with that and in the coming years with that experience?
So coming out of drama school now, and I think I'd be naive to think that my passions will be the same coming out at the end of it, and my dream will be the same coming out of it. But right now, I think I have my heart set on running youth theatre programs.
Wow.
I love performing. I really do. And I will keep on performing in whatever way I can, but I really want to give something tangible and like positive to the world and young people. Like working in schools the past couple of years, like I say, really has changed my life. It's opened my eyes to the power of the performing arts, and what young people can really get out of it. I mean, I know what I got out of it, but looking at, one of my kids who's such a sporty guy, such a lad's lad, but yet he comes and he can be Gaston. Like, Gaston's a perfect role for him, and he can have this bravado and this way to express passion, which he's obviously got. He might not be able to express that with his friends or in his friend group, but you put him on stage and he's the crowd favourite. And I don't know, kids who might feel like they don't have a place to belong can find a place in theatre. It's like they can find a place in sport or I don't know, wherever. But for me, it's theatre, and I want kids to be able to find that passion and nurture that passion and grow not only their skills as performers, but as people. Because performing arts and stories can teach us so much about ourselves and society and community. And I want to be a part in. I want to play a part in that.
It is amazing what theatre does to someone who, like, you would see them every day and you think of them one way, and then they turn up in a theatre and they're completely different. It's quite fascinating.
It's awesome to see. It's so awesome to see, and the confidence that these kids get as well. It's incredible. It really is incredible, and it's something I hold very dear to my heart. Like, I'll never forget Beauty and the Beast last week, Friday night, closing night, final curtain call, streams of tears. Just I could see them all through, eyes filled with tears, and I'll never forget that feeling. That sense, I've never felt pride like it. It was just never felt so proud, and
it's fascinating. I don't like it. It's very hard to describe as well, because it's the kind of feeling you only really get out of the performing arts, where there is so much pride, but then also like a sadness, because that things must move on and change.
That sense of moving on, moving forward. It's a great thing, because that they're going on to do another great show next year. But I guess it stung a lot with Beauty and the Beast, because I know I won't be there next year. But it's just a really fulfilling thing to know that you've put together this show, you've had that impact, and now hopefully they can take something away with it and take something away into their real world lives. It's amazing, and I think it's one of those things that are quite transformative. You don't get to do a musical very often, and like we see this in the West End and in Broadway all the time, where actors have moved around. Some of them go and get other big careers elsewhere, and then you've got to move on and keep, obviously might be emotionally attached, but then learn to detach and keep going. Yeah, definitely. It's a hard thing, but it's still a beautiful thing, because you have your Beauty and the Beast family, you can have your Evita family, and it's all meeting people, and each experience is different, but each equally as beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. So getting back to the Geek stuff, we went on this amazing journey with all the musical theatre things, but how has your initial fandom, as you said, you're talking about old movies and original Star Wars and things like that, how has that changed over the years?
My passion for old movies and stuff, like, how's that changed?
Well, has it changed? And obviously, you've got a great love of, comic books and Marvel and Star Wars and things like that. And has those changed as well?
Yeah, it's definitely developed. So, I mean, comic books is a relatively new thing in the grand scheme of things. I got into comic books when I went to sixth form, because I was in York. There was a comic book shop 5 minutes away, and now, there's comic books everywhere. And as a kid, reading, who wants to read? The comic books are definitely a new thing, and I mean, again, I say new, I've been into comics for about 5 years now. But my love for Star Wars and these old classic films, I don't think will ever change, because I am a bit of a cinephile as well, and they just are very good films, and they still make me feel the same way that I felt as a kid, that exhilaration of, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker, is he going to blow up the Death Star? Or like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I still relate to Cameron in so many ways, and you watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and no one relates to Ferris. Everybody wants to be Ferris, but for me, growing up, it was, oh my god, I'm Cameron, and there's still that in me now. It's strange. My passions have developed. I don't think they've changed. I don't do as much Lego, but I don't buy as much Lego Star Wars, but I read a lot of Star Wars books. I listen to a lot of the music, and I think the thing is, growing up and work and not as much time, I go to work at 7:30, and when I was directing Beauty and the Beast, I'd get in at like 10 at night. So these are like long days, and it's ways to find time to explore your passions during the day, I guess. So for me, it was listening to podcasts. I really like Warhammer 40k, so I found I'd listen to lore podcasts. I'd listen to the soundtracks of these films, and it's definitely developed. But my core of Star Wars and Marvel, and again musical theatre as well, is still in me.
In regards to the whole, your love of Marvel, obviously Marvel has changed a lot since it first, especially since the movies started coming out. There's been a lot of development, and obviously the comic books are a whole separate entity in and of themselves. How do you find keeping up with, such rapidly evolving fandom like Marvel?
Well, I fell out with Marvel. I didn't fall out with Marvel. Endgame, I would have been quite happy if Marvel stopped at Endgame. Endgame had such a sense of finality, and since Endgame, I can only really say that Spider-Man No Way Home has been a project that's been worth it. Everything else, I don't think really needed to exist. Endgame, them coming through the portals, I saw Endgame 5 times in theatres, and I cried. I cried 4 times every time that I saw it. When they come out of the portals and Cap says Avengers Assemble, that was like that is like my childhood come together in one place. Edge of my seat, like screaming, "God, my God, oh my God!" That is like all of these friendships that I've made through Marvel, all the good times that I've had through Marvel, everything from my childhood came down to that moment. And then that fight, I thought that was it, really. I thought that this is never going to get better, and it hasn't yet. It hasn't got better than that, and I don't know. I find it difficult to keep up with Marvel. I haven't enjoyed most of the TV shows. I'm hoping, praying that Moon Knight will change that. It's a tough one with Marvel because it is so big and it's so hard to get people into it now. Like when I'm meeting new friends and they haven't seen Marvel, they're like, "Oh, where should I start?" I'm like, "Just start at the beginning. It'll take you like a month or 2 months to get through it all." But I don't know. I fall in and out of love with all of my passions, and it's because I love them so much.
Yeah.
Star Wars fans are the worst because they love Star Wars so much that whenever Star Wars does anything wrong, we immediately just have a massive go at it. Marvel's a toughie. Marvel is a toughie.
Yeah, it's interesting as someone who went and watched Marvel very late, like to the point where Infinity War was not in cinemas when I was getting through. You know, there was some of the middle sections of Phase 2 and 3 that I was, you know, still missing, and but like it's an interesting phenomenon where, as you said, we could have finished at, you know, at Endgame and have it all done, you know, all finished up, and it was. But then we have more, and we have more content. And I think that on one hand, it's a good thing. I like seeing the varied representations of different people. I think Eternals, while it was really hard to follow, did a really, really great job in showing different cultures and different ethnicities and different backgrounds really, really well, and explaining how they interact with one another. But, you know, it didn't do anything on a larger scale, and I always wonder, and it's one of those things, and I think that Marvel did a really good job, especially very early on. You know, we had the Iron Man and you know, other films, and we're like, well, what's going on here? We didn't realize it was building to something bigger, and it's like, who knows what's happening? But maybe this is building to something bigger that we just aren't aware of.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what's going to beat Thanos? I think they've done a good job on raising the threat, raising the stakes. Like, Kang is now a thing, multiverse stuff. But then again, I'm like, you can't go any further than the multiverse. Surely to God, I do not know where they can go from Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. I mean, I like the more. I believe they should have saved Civil War. They should have saved Civil War until a later stage, because Civil War consists of 8 people fighting in an airport, whereas in the comic books, every Marvel character ever is basically on either Cap or Iron Man's side, and I feel like they did Civil War way too early, and I think it would have been a great place to go after Endgame. Or after all this multiverse stuff. It's like raise the stakes and then do a more grounded, character-centric story. And that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see more character-centric analysis. Analyses? I don't know. Like the Kenobi show. I like the fact, or I hope the Kenobi show is going to be a more grounded character analysis of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think that's where why, like, say, WandaVision and Loki, I think have a lot more pull. They might not be as excellent as executing it, but I think that they are a little bit more grounded in that. And I think that's why they attracted so many people back after feeling a little lost after, you know, Infinity War and Endgame. And like, well, where do we go from here? Even to an extent, like, I haven't watched all of it, but Hawkeye as well, like, I find that really fascinating. It was an underutilized character in, you know, through you know, the rest of the series. But now we're getting to see more. Black Widow, I think I enjoyed a lot. It gave a lot of backstory. It was a lot of fun. Not sure where it fits, and not sure, you know, how good it is in the larger scheme of things. But I don't know. I have this argument with my siblings all the time, and I go, you know, can we just appreciate it for what it is and not what it is in the broader context of things? And like, I think it often, you know, for people who are fans of like all of the properties, it makes it really hard to separate the individual from the group.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think the thing is I liked WandaVision. Until the Agatha Harkness thing. Like, I really like the fact that it was Wanda and Vision, and Wanda is kind of the antagonist, and it's all a bit ambiguous, and it's kind of weird. I like when Marvel goes weird and tries something new and kooky, and WandaVision was that. And then we got a CGI boss battle at the end, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, like, come on, man. Hawkeye. I haven't finished Hawkeye. I just haven't. But I like the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like it knows it's a bit of a. It's a fun buddy cop thing. And that's fine. I think Marvel fans get sucked into everything needing to be end of the world level threats, and I like the fact that Hawkeye is a bit of fun. Whereas, unlike Falcon and the Winter Soldier takes itself so seriously, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy that show.
Yeah.
But Hawkeye was fun, and I like fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's one of those things, like, you know, I'm a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Bob's Burgers and Parks and Rec, and those kind of, you know, comedies that don't take themselves way too seriously, but, you know, obviously we've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the last 2 seasons of its run, you know, take on some real serious and heartwarming issues, and, you know, it's really interesting, and I really appreciated that, but it put it in a light that was, you know, really palatable and really fun to listen and watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at The Office. The Office is like one of the best kind of viewed, I don't know, highest viewed comedies ever. And it's hilarious, but it makes me cry. Every time I do a watch through, I watch it through like 7 times. But when Jim gives Pam that teapot and reads a note, I'm blubbing like a baby. Or when Michael leaves, like things can have fun while still having heartfelt, serious moments.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what sometimes we forget about, especially in this whole Oscars-centric viewpoint that a lot of Hollywood has at this point. You know, it always ends up feeling like it's got to aim towards an award season and tick boxes, and it therefore doesn't feel like it's adding or growing.
Very true.
I don't know, yeah. It's fascinating, and I think it's one of those things about being a part of such a huge fandom with so many properties that makes it so fun to talk to other people because they've got so many different perspectives.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's hard being on TikTok and talking about your opinions. I don't know people who have watched my content. I don't give my opinion often because I just want to avoid that because people can get very toxic very quickly. And that just does my head in because people are allowed to have their own opinions and their own viewpoints, and it's like spice, you know. It would life would be so bland if no one kind of if no one had an opinion. Well, it would just be futile. What's the point? There's 20 however many movies in the MCU. If everyone had the same ranking, it would be insane. Everyone from different communities, from different backgrounds, different ethnicities is going to draw something different out of every single film. And we should be able to appreciate that. And people don't for some reason.
And I think it's very fascinating because we have some really entrenched fandoms now. You think of Harry Potter, Star Wars, to an extent Marvel. I think that they get to like properly settle down, and things like Lord of the Rings. So friend of the podcast, Mary Clay, was reading, you know, Lord of the Rings for the very first time. She has really just finished The Hobbit and moved on to the Silmarillion quite recently. And she copped a lot of hate for, you know, really enjoying the books and really having fun with them, but at the same time critiquing them and going, this is not right, and this is, you know, this is weird, and I don't understand this, and, you know, I don't agree with the way that this is written. And people got angry, very, very angry, very quickly. Right. And it was this weird conversation that not only her, but like her friends and then the people around her. So, you know, I had this very interesting conversation with her as well, actually, on the podcast. So, you know, make sure you go back and check it on the first episodes. And we talked about the fact that dealing with hate like this is very, very hard to kind of, you know, deal with, because you've got to understand that they've got a different viewpoint, but also they're at the point where they're not listening to the fact that you also have a different viewpoint, and we've got to respect that both of those are valid.
Yeah, definitely. And if someone doesn't understand a section in the book and you feel quite passionately about it, you don't need to be mean or toxic. You can just express what you think about it and then take on board what she says, and it's called a discussion. and the art of conversation is lost on toxic fandoms, I do believe. And we just need to all chill out and just realise that everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and we should embrace it. Definitely.
100%.
I struggle to read the Silmarillion. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm one of the biggest Lord of the Rings advocates going. I struggle to read the Silmarillion. It's like a lore book. It's tough. Like, it is a tough get through.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't know. I even struggle to get through the Lord of the Rings itself. I'm the kind of person who defaults back to, say, Percy Jackson or something, where it's back to more of a middle grade kind of level. But I find I have a lot more fun with them than, say, Lord of the Rings. Whereas, my brothers, who are very, very smart people, have way more fun reading, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings than they do reading Percy Jackson. It's fascinating. And understanding that and then just appreciating that, I think is so much more fun and makes experiencing those fandoms so much more valuable. Definitely.
It's getting different viewpoints on it, and it's like exploring different theories. Everyone have their theory on. Look at the Rey Skywalker thing. Who's Rey's parents? Everyone had their own theory about who the hell Rey's parents were, and that was fun. That's probably one of the only things that I found fun about Rise of Skywalker. I did not enjoy Rise of Skywalker, but it was fun, and everyone had their own different flavour and opinion, and it was fun exploring them. Because if everyone had the same opinion, and everyone would be let down by the reveal if it wasn't that. It's just having fun with it and having a discussion, and that's and
I think that inherently adds value to it. Like, big companies like Disney can't just rely on the movies that they create to create value, like intrinsic value in something. And I think that, when you have, I did a unit in high school in my film and television about augmented reality marketing around, actually it was about the Netflix TV series House of Cards, and the fact that they tied into the 2016 election while they were launching one of their newer seasons. And Disney and Netflix and every other big company has to rely on other people helping to create content and value out of the ideas that they have, because the fully polished, finished films that come out of Disney are not frequent enough to be of significant value.
Definitely. I completely agree with you.
Yeah. It's fascinating, and I love having conversations with people with different viewpoints, because it really opens my eyes to something new, and I really love that.
Yeah, I mean, you could gain something completely different out of it. Like a film like The Breakfast Club, I get so much out of The Breakfast Club, but someone might mention a line out of it which I hadn't thought about that way, and it'll add so much more to the character, and it just adds value to your experience as well. Even if you disagree, it's a character, it's a comment on the character, and that's something that you can explore and hence gain more out of the film or the book or the video game or whatever.
And it's one of the most rewarding things, I think, of being a part of a community, is that you get to experience all of that, and you're not alone either. You're not sitting there in your bedroom, experiencing amazing things like The Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller's Day Off or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or Marvel or whatever brings you joy. You're not experiencing it alone. There are other people out there who are experiencing it with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Just switching topics again a little bit more. Hey, you're going down to the Royal College. That's a bit of you're going down to London, right? For that, you're moving.
Yes.
All the way down the
London.
country.
Yeah.
So
big move.
It's a big. Yeah, it is a big move. Are you planning on taking? Obviously, you show off your collection on TikTok a little bit. Are you planning on taking your collection or part or?
I have had a lot of thoughts about this. I am very concerned about the moment where I need to decide what to take, because I have no idea what I'm going to do. Firstly, I need to find somewhere to live. I need to find somewhere to live. Yeah, find a flat, see how much room there is, see if I can fit my cabinets in there, and then I'm like, I need to find what storage items I can use. So then if I know what storage I can use, I can figure out what I can take. It's really tricky, and I think I'm going to need to narrow my collection down to, what am I going to read? Because I'll want to read something when I'm down there.
Yeah.
What am I going to read? What means the most to me? And also probably what looks really cool. Like, what will spice my room up a bit. Because there's no point taking, 100 copies of Batman when every cover looks the same shade of black and dark grey. I want something that adds a bit of flavour to the room. And also what best represents me, because I want... I don't know, I've been in this room for forever, really. I live with my parents. I've been here for forever. And I want to take me, like, what best represents me down to London. Because London, I think you could quite easily lose yourself in London, or if you move to, like, I don't know, Sydney or New York, you can get consumed by the city. But I want a piece of my North Yorkshire life there, so I never want to forget where I'm from and who I am and all that kind of thing, but I want part of that with me.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where, I'm really lucky. My parents only live an hour away from where I live. And when I moved into the centre of the city, because I went to uni there, and I'm still going there. I've just moved a little bit further out at the moment. But it was like, what do I want to take, and what is going to be me? And the other thing was what was going to fit in the car. When I moved all my stuff down, I didn't have. I was actually living in my grandparents' place before I moved into the city. So I had this really great transition period of going back to my parents' place and realizing, there's a box of like old things I had as a kid that, mum had put somewhere safe, and I'll take that home with me. Or, I look through, we have this massive bookshelf because my family's all big readers.
Yeah.
And the bookshelf is probably, I want to say 6 or 7 meters long. It goes to the roof. And so that I'll be looking through the bookcase and I'm like, oh, that's my book. And I grab it out and I take it home with me. And, just slowly adding things and like reminding myself of stuff from home as well. I've got some things of mine that are, from my childhood bedroom and, other bits and pieces that have come along with me, and I've accumulated as I've moved around. I've moved a couple of times in the past few years. And, so there's memories from like each space I've lived in, which is amazing.
Yeah, I bet. I can't. Yeah, I can't wait to go through that process. I think that's going to be a really nice process to go to. Also, really daunting. Also, kind of scary.
Do you have?
But very nice.
Yeah. I was about to say, your parents might be keen for you to get out of there, and they might get the extra room back.
oh yeah. Well, my definitely. My parents are ready for me. My brother's at boarding school. So he's already gone. So I think they're wanting rid. So they can have the house back to themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely see that. I'm the eldest of 10 children. So there
10?
are a lot of there's a lot of us. And I live with 2 of my siblings here at the moment. But like I think that it's a bit of a sigh of relief when we moved out, because it was like, nah, I don't need to deal with them anymore. There's no more, no more shenanigans to deal with.
I bet.
Because, we regularly fight with our siblings. Like, that's the kind of
that's
thing
natural.
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But then, like, having that and then having, like, adults fighting with children, we're all adults. It's like, this is a lot of noise right now. And I think my parents are always secretly very happy when, like, 2 or 3 of the children go off on school camps or something or away, and they've got, like, 4 or 5 children left in the house. And they're like, what do we do with ourselves? There's only 5 of them. Like half of them. And it's pretty amazing, and I think my mum is secretly glad that she's got some bedrooms back.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah. Not that we really like the space has just been filled by another child, really.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no. The new eldest in the house is just like, yep, I'm gonna have my own room. Thank you very much. I'm like, okay, awesome. But yeah, well, thank you so much, Henry, for coming on Content and Capable. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, not a problem. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah. Where can people find you on the internet?
So on TikTok, my @ is Henry Calvert. That is CALVERT. And on Instagram, henry.calvert. And yeah, those are the two places where I post. Lots of geeky stuff and things on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a great time, and I highly recommend you go follow it. It's some of the most passionate content I've ever seen on the internet. So
Thanks, man.
And has there been anything that you've been reading, playing, listening to that you want to plug?
What would I recommend at the minute? As a big musical theatre fan, I would highly recommend Giles Terera's Hamilton and Me. If you are a big musical theatre fan, it is the West End Burr from Hamilton. It's his journal about how he got the role, the rehearsal process of Hamilton, and all of that. And for aspiring actors and performers, I think it's a brilliant read. I got a lot out of it.
Wow, it's amazing. Yeah, that's fascinating. I always love hearing from, someone who's picked up the role as well after someone, obviously, who, the original Hamilton cast who have been immortalized now on Disney Plus. Yeah. It's like, wow, we know who they are, but like the other people have had to fill those huge shoes. It's
definitely
quite impressive. Yeah,
it's really good getting his perspective on it. And again, as a aspiring actor's kind of, handbook, it's great. So highly recommend that.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And like we've just had the Australian tour. I think it's wrapping up in Melbourne and it's heading back to Sydney for a run real quick, and then it's over. And I actually go and see if I can go see that now.
Oh yeah, do
before it goes. Yeah, there's a lot of good musicals hanging around in Australia at the moment. It's fascinating. Six just has come through. It's doing like a weirdly regional tour. They've decided to do a regional tour of like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, as well as going out to these like really small community theaters. It's fascinating.
Oh, what age?
Yeah, and I've got some friends in the music industry who are like, yeah, I'm just going to go and play in Priscilla up in like Caloundra, which is you probably wouldn't have heard of it. Like it's not somewhere that people go, oh yeah, we're going to send a tour over there. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on the internet at sam.the.journalist on Instagram and TikTok. On Twitter, I'm samobjournalist. If you follow me on Twitter, it's just a lot of news content, and it's really just going to be about the Australian election for the next 2 months, and I apologise for that in advance. But yeah, I'm going to plug today, and now I've all traces of content. Yes, I'm going to plug this one actually. I'm going to plug John Mulaney's comedy special live at Radio City. It's on Netflix here in Australia. I'm sure it's on some streaming service somewhere. It was a really great fun one to rewatch. It's got a lot of the quite memeable moments of John Mulaney. The whole I was over on the bench and there's a couple of other really, really good gags in there that like just a lot of fun to watch again. It's a good rewatch. But yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on, Henry. I really, really appreciate it. It's been really inspiring to talk to you, and I cannot wait to see what you do in the future.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. It means a lot. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to Content and Capable. You can follow the podcast socials at Content, the letter N, Capable on Instagram and Twitter. You can send a super boring email to us through contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. The art was done by Opia. You can follow them on opia_art on Instagram. Opia is spelled OPIA. Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Nora Strauss Riggs. You can find Nora at Kane_I, that's I as in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast. I'm proud to be a part of the Movie Night Crew network, which features the Restricted section, a chapter-by-chapter Harry Potter pod with lots of spoilers all the time. The Movie Night Crew join some friends as they react to some terrible, some meh, and some really great movies. Fandom's Gone Wrong, a show that discusses all things fandoms. Of the Eldest Gods, a chapter-by-chapter Rick Riordan pod full of myths and legends. And My Cabbages, an Avatar podcast that follows the true hero of Avatar The Last Airbender, the Cabbage Cart Guy.
Coffee, tea, honor, cabbage. Long ago, the four elements lived in harmony. Then, shit went totally cray when the Avatar attacked. Only the Cabbage Man, merchant of fine cruciferous vegetables, could stand against his trolling. But when the world needed some dank veg, he vanished. 10 years have passed, and my partner and I have started a new podcast.
My Cabbages! An Avatar podcast.
A weekly show about Avatar The Last Airbender. Whether it's Sokka's new line of cologne.
Hey, look at you, sitting there on a seal. Well, now look back at me. I'm on an even bigger seal. Now look away.
D&D related antics.
You have to make an acrobatics check for that. And Aang just unzips his pants and whips out his D20s. He's just I got this.
Or randomly breaking into song.
Go bending waterfall.
We'll stumble our way through the greatest show ever made, one episode at a time.
You can reach us at CabbageCast, which is our Twitter, or
subscribe wherever you catch pod.
Rotten cabbages? What kind of slum do you think this is?
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review it on your favourite podcatcher, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.